Here at Flavour, we're a family-owned and operated restaurant. Today happens to be a special day. It's my wife and I's 13th wedding anniversary. I love you, honey. This one's for you. By coincidence, tomorrow, March 11th, is Flavour's second year anniversary of existence. With that, I'm going to make you one of my favorites that I'm going to be serving for our anniversary, a Lobster Corvina Cake with a red Thai chili vinaigrette. Let me just tell you what we got here. Fresh fillets of Corvina. Before I move forward, I'm gonna take our Corvina and I'm gonna bake it in the oven. Put a little aluminum foil on a plate, a little salt and pepper. While that's baking, I have fresh cooked Maine lobster, cilantro, scallions, small diced shallots. We're gonna scent our cake with Dijon mustard, mayonnaise, and then hold it all together with Japanese breadcrumbs. This sauce happens to be very easy. I have a sweet Thai chili sauce, a spicy sauce that I make. It's half Chinese long hots and half habaneros. So I call it the 3-second delay. Once it hits your palate, 1,000, 1,000, pow! And then we're gonna hold it all together with a little bit of white balsamic vinegar. First, I'm gonna take my sweet Thai chili sauce and we're gonna spoon that into our bowl. I'm gonna take my Chef Jason's hot sauce. I don't wanna use too much. You can always add more. You can't take it out once it's already in there. So I'm gonna take 1 spoonful. And then I'm gonna jazz it up with a little white balsamic vinegar. Mix and stirring, mix and stirring. And of course, a little bit of salt, because we want to bring out all those flavors that we just put into it. Hey, let's check on our fish. Okay. Once our Corvina is cooked, we're gonna set it aside, let it cool, and then we're gonna flake it into the bowl. I'm gonna put some gloves on. Usually you hear this great sound at the doctor's office, but we chefs use them too. So I have my fish that is cooled. I started to flake it. Flaking it just means you're just pulling it apart from itself so that you have these nice big chunks of fish. I'm gonna take this lobster claw and reserve it because we're gonna stick it on top for aesthetic reasons when we're done. So I have all my chopped lobster. That's gonna go into the bowl. And then we're gonna take our shallots, our scallions, and our cilantro. This is the part that's gonna hold all of these ingredients together. Dijon mustard, mayonnaise. I'm gonna take a little bit more of my hot sauce because I want you to taste it in the whole entire dish. Just a little bit. I'm gonna mix this around and make sort of a lobster fish mustard mayonnaise. Get all the ingredients all folded in so that when we put our breadcrumbs in, they have something to hang on to and absorb. You don't want too much breadcrumbs in this because you want to know that it's a lobster fish cake, not a breadcrumb cake. So I'm gonna take 1 handful or so, and we're gonna just fold the breadcrumbs in until it feels all put together and tight. You don't want to put too much in. Let it be a little bit wet because we're going to let this sit for about 4 minutes or so, 5 minutes. The breadcrumbs are going to absorb all of the mayonnaise, the mustard, the juices from the fish, the juice from the lobster, and that's going to help you form a cake. So now that that is set, we're just going to pick it up out of the bowl, make a snowball out of it, and then we take the rest of our breadcrumbs and we're just gonna dip our cake on the top and on the bottom. We're gonna saute this. So we don't need to coat the whole thing in breadcrumbs. You just wanna do both the top and the bottom so we can have a little bit of crunch. See that? See how pretty that looks? That's a happy anniversary if I ever saw one. Now that that's formed, we're gonna saute it with oil to saute with. Let's get going, huh? All right, so now I have this lovely lobster pillow of deliciousness. I'm gonna take it and put it into my saute pan with a little bit of canola oil. The reason why I use canola oil, it's flavorless, odorless, colorless, and it allows me to impart whatever flavor I want into my food. See that sizzle? That's what we're looking for. Don't forget, this whole cake on the inside has already been cooked. So now we just want to put some crunch on the outside while the inside is warm, moist, and juicy. For a cake this size, it's gonna take about 8 minutes. It's about a 6-ounce cake, let's say. It's gonna take about 8 minutes inside the oven in order for the whole thing to be hot. So now we're about 4 minutes in. I'm gonna check on our cake and we're gonna flip it over because we want that nice crunchy breadcrumb crunch on both sides. Look at that. It doesn't get much better than that. Now I'm gonna take that reserved lobster claw and I'm gonna put it on top. And I'm gonna warm the lobster claw on top of the cake. That way you know exactly what kind of cake we're serving. Back in, another 4 minutes. While we're in there, in and around the last 2 minutes of the 4 minutes that we're cooking, gives us a chance to make the plate. I have a little bit of mesclun greens. They just seem to be a nice plate cover. Plus, they serve as an edible garnish. Remember that sauce that we combined earlier? We're gonna take a little bit of our sauce, give it a second stir, or third or fourth, and then dress the plate, trying not to get any on the rim. Plates are for food, the rim is for color. That's our restaurant lingo. Use all the sauce, because you're gonna need it. That's a big cake. Now that that's ready, let's go back in the oven and go get what we came here for. Look at that. This is gonna be a fantastic anniversary gift for my friends at Flavour for our anniversary. We bring the pan to the plate. That way, if the cake decides to fall, we got something to catch it, because you don't wanna waste it. And then a Flavour anniversary lobster cake. Woo, that is beautiful.